What's up, Variable? That was pretty quick, though. You know the Infinitone 2 is out? Decent amount of quick. Yeah, it's quite quick, yeah. Yeah, I think there's like a trial version. I might try it out. Definitely gonna try it out soon. Let's see what. I haven't looked yet. I don't know what you have to give them. Yeah, it's out. $150. It'll work for 15 minutes at a time. So you can try for 15 minutes and then restart your DAW and retry it. They have like a pretty good commercial for it.
If you're a musician, these 12 tones are keeping you in prison. So that's why I invented Infinitone. So you can easily surf the infinite harmonic ocean.
Hey, what's up, Vintage Train?
Infinitone is a software instrument that gives you instant inspiring access to the notes in between the notes on your standard keyboard. So you can play magical scales like this.
Thanks for lurking, dude.
Morphing cinematic megachords like this. Or chord progressions like this. Infinitone is really easy to get started, free to try. Check it out.
You didn't like the ad? That was kind of cool. But I guess I'm old. We're getting close enough. Out of touch. Yeah, I liked it. The intro felt like brain rot. Zen rot. I don't know, I thought it seemed like you know, like most microtonal stuff is like very like straight to the point, like kind of dry, I guess. I thought that was like a neat. I don't know, it seemed like it maybe could appeal to people who are not already in it, you know. Yeah. But Stephen Weigel said that, or maybe it was Amelia Huff at some point was saying that the infinitone is supposed to be able to do like transposable JI. 22 has the closest 5/4. I know it's so funny how like people don't emphasize the JI, like the 5 limit in 22. Like you never hear anyone talk about that. It's so funny. Because it is a popular tuning, but like people talk about that in like 31, and they'll even talk about it in like 19. They'll talk about how the thirds are so pure. They like never talk about the 5/4. I mean, yeah, they never talk about the 5/4. Oh, 384, yeah, it's super close. Yeah, I think one reason people don't think of 22 Ito in the same way, like I feel like people think of 22 almost as like gimmicky in a way. Maybe gimmicky is not the right word, but it's like it's like a wonky kind of fun tuning. People don't think of it like people almost think of it as like a 12 alternative a lot of times. Like a Zanilla or whatever. But I think it's just because the theory is annoying. Like honestly, like 31, it's like so straightforward. 19 is so straightforward. Like just to think about the notes, because their mean tone, it just lines up the same way as 12 does with the major scale. And it's just easier to think about. Like it's easy to think about the sharps and flats in 19 or in 31. It's like it's weird in 22. Major 7th chord, C, D sharp, G, A sharp. Right, yeah. Yeah, that's like a weird way to think of it. But you got to use the downs and the ups, of course. But you don't have to do that in 19 or 22. So it's just like a little more. Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Down E and down B, exactly. That's why I don't know. I know you want to do the 26 video, but like, is there 22 theory video already out there? That weren't you talking about doing a 22 video before? Someone should go over like the ups and the downs. 22 Ito. It's not that complicated. I mean, you can always do both. I mean, but if you started with 22, like or start with 26, it doesn't really matter. But if you cover 22, it's like, I don't know. I think it could be helpful, like if people knew that it's like not that complicated, and if they kind of understood like I don't know, people don't. I've like brought up 22 to one of my friends before, who's like more casually interested in microtonality, and he always seems like not interested in it just because it's not like he's only interested in like JI and 31 because those are the only ones that are getting attention on YouTube. It's like those are the only ones the influencers are getting behind, so it's not it has nothing to do with he doesn't really mess with any of it. So his opinion is just coming from YouTube basically. And yeah, if we had like we have more videos on 22. And the thing is like 22 is popular among microtonalists, but it just doesn't, there's not that, it's not getting communicated to like the newbies. It's not getting communicated to the people who are more casually interested. But 31 is, and JI is. And it's like there's not, it's really not like that complicated. And it does have things that appeal to people who want more consonants too. Lumi's analysis of Gleam. Yeah, that's a cool video. Yeah, it has beautiful major seventh chords. Absolutely. Yeah, it's like I don't know, it's like not a ton of notes. It's not as locked in. I mean, it's not exactly backwards compatible, but it's like kind of is. I mean you can play 12 veto stuff in 22. That's the other thing, like people don't. You can play recognizably stuff from 12 in 22. 16, 15, and 15, 8 are only 2 cents off. Oh wow. I mean it has like some good like JI stuff. I mean the fifth is a little sharp, of course, but like in 31 the fifth is pretty flat, you know? Like I don't think it's as flat but as the 22s is sharp. But yeah, I don't mind the sharp fifth. You get used, I mean the fifth has a bit of wiggle room because it's such a fundamental interval. And that's another thing people don't realize, like kind of get away with warping the fifth more. If we round this up, this is what, 5 cents flat, and then 22s is 7 cents sharp or something. Yeah, 7 cents sharp. They're like comparable, but from the other direction. I mean, it's obviously you can do a lot of stuff in 31 that you can't do in 22, but it goes both ways. I mean, there's certain sounds you'll get from 22. Like 31 doesn't sound like 22. 31 is definitely more like the mean tone stuff sounds like normal music, and I think for a lot of people that is an advantage. You just won't get that out of 22. It's always gonna like hint it in a certain way, but I I think that's an advantage, honestly. Like that's what bores me about 31. It kind of sounds, it almost sounds like more boring 12 veto, if that makes any sense. I think because the fifth is like a little flat, and then a lot of the intervals are closer to pure, so they kind of just feel like JI can have a really placid sort of quality. You're not like mixing in some higher limit stuff. Yeah, 31 doesn't have a good 9/7. 22 has like a great 9/7, which understandably like that's not always an interval you want. It's definitely a it can be an abrasive sound, but that looks nice actually. But I don't know. I can't really mess with 31 on the linnstrument, not comfortably. Five's a little. That's really close. How close is that? Isn't it normally, what is it normally? 769? That's really close, right? Yeah, the septimal stuff is like, yeah, got a really good 7.4. I mean, if you want to do like JI approximate stuff, this is definitely like better. 31's definitely better. But I don't know, it's just that it's not completely lacking in 22. Like I wouldn't go for JI. I wouldn't go for purity in 22. It does have some nice intervals. 6, 7, 9 chords are really nice. Yeah, I do like those. 7, 9s are quite nice. Major third is. But yeah, I mean, if you want to appeal to the JI people, like 31 is gonna win for sure. But I just find it funny that it's like no, it's not. I just never hear about that. Like everything I've read, and a lot of people use 22. They like never talk about they almost never even bring up the JI. They never bring up the 5 limit really. It's always just like, oh, it's like a quirky, like such a quirky, like people like it. Don't get me wrong, like a quirky, cool tuning. And I think for people who are kind of more in it, one of the more popular ones. But like it would be cool if there were more. I wish there was more like stuff for the people who aren't already yeah, it's like really good for its size, yeah. Like, just for people who aren't already like steeped in the theory and the community and practice. Because they don't know, and it doesn't really get any attention. And I think it would be good too, because it's not that many notes. And a lot of people will play with 11 right away. A lot of people will play with 24 right away. And like 22 is like, sideways to both of those. Like it's just one more step removed from that. So I think it's like not really unfriendly in that sense. The major or minor, that'd be super major. Wait, let me think. Hold on. That'd be minor, I guess. Hold on. C down. B down, B down. B up flat. Yeah, be minor. Be a classic minor. What's up, Dom? How you doing? Been a second. Good. I'm pretty good. Trying to wrap these mixes up. Been a long journey on these. Kind of just mostly just doing like some last minute tweaks and stuff. I'm kind of over it too. But I'm hoping I don't find anything that's gonna take a long time. I'm definitely like over the hill. I don't know what my bandmates are gonna say. Depending on what they say, that's kind of gonna be up to them. But I'm at the point where I'm handing it off to their discretion. Neck minute. Hit notes for every song. I ghosted, I'm sorry. I've been in similar situations, but it's always I'm trying to get my mixes. I've tried to get mixes from somebody of my music that they recorded I paid for. I get ghosted because they don't want to work on it. Great job. Thanks, Mr. Leafy. Yeah, it happened one time, and he's actually like an old friend of mine. And we ended up like working together later on, like years later, like doing another music project together. So I kind of forgave him for it, but it was, it really sucked at the time. He just like didn't want to deal with it. Worst when you're trying to get something going and you just get nothing. I know. Story of my life. How do you think the 22 Me music video or music theory video should be structured? I don't know. That's a big question. I mean, I think like what I'm like just when I've been talking tonight, like I've been thinking like, like where's the like it'd be cool if there was just like this is, like a intro to 22. Here's what's cool about it. Like you can get familiar but slightly different sounds. It's not that crazy to use. Here's what's interesting about it, like talking about Zarlino. Here's how the accidentals are labeled. Like going through like the ups and the downs and the lawful alert and the the double sharp. I even think like mentioning like the double sharp and double flat and like how obnoxious that is, and like the how the ups and downs kind of remedies that. That'd be like worth mentioning. Like a nod to like Gleam and Brendan Burns and just some of the maybe even that like Paul Ehrlich has written about it. those are all things that come to mind for me personally. I don't necessarily think they all should be in one video or all need to be in any videos at all. Those things come to mind. If you're purely doing a theory video, yeah, I would talk about SuperPyth and like what that means, how the third is sharp, and like how you like make it sound more diatonic using Zarlino scale, and how would you, and you know, maybe just name the notes, don't necessarily go into the weeds of it right away. But if you wanted to do like more like a one video at a time thing, yeah, those are all things that come to mind for me. Is like, yeah, black dye, you're splitting the series. Yeah. So I don't know. You'd probably have a more like logical, like theoretical, like approach to doing it that would be more similar to like what was it? Lumi did that other video, right? On 19 or whatever it was, but yeah, it'd be hard for me to be that like straightforward about it. I just think about all the, I don't know. You have to explain the basics of JI before diving into the technical stuff. Well, maybe. I mean, there's already videos on JI though, right? I don't know. That's almost like a separate topic. It's also part of why this is so hard. It's like what can you get away with mentioning and not mentioning, and there's just so much information. It's hard to parse out like what is relevant. But yeah, I have I think if you pursue it, you'll do a good job at it, you know. I would rather see your video than you know see my rambling rant where I like miss some like fundamental piece of information that nobody knows what I'm talking about because of that. Like that's I would just ramble from personal experience, and like so many people who mess with 22 would be like, I don't get what this guy is talking about. This is not what 22 is like for me at all. Like, not that doesn't invalidate my perspective or anything, but I don't think I normally like I don't think I'm necessarily plugged into the zeitgeist of what's going on, you know. I definitely know what I think, but that's about it. be G and then A and then down C sharp. Assuming it's major. And it could be a bunch of different scales. Then yeah. Probably would have been more likely to forget the down B. Awful attack. Alright, let me let my dog out. Oh, it just started. Excellent work. Thank you, Mr. Leakey. Yeah. Beautiful whammy pedal would rear its head occasionally. Oh, Steven Weigel did that? Cool. He commented on mine saying he should do one. I was like, yeah, you should do one and record a live stream. I don't know if he did all that. I know he loves 15. Oh wow, 26, 37. That was interesting. I didn't expect to agree with Steven's opinions really, because I've never understood the 15 thing, but definitely has his own preferences. On board with the F. Not really on board with the C, but I know it's not surprising though. I mean, he's like anti-12. Um, he goes straight from C to A. I think that's kind of interesting. Like, he puts everything A and up for the most part, so it's like not really that critical. But you still have to consider these are like still ranked relative to each other. If you put 22 like S plus, just fair. Not where I would put it. It puts it with 27 and 34. So like 22 and 34 of what I put at the top. I would put 34 way above 17. Anyway, I already put mine up. But if you haven't seen it, those were kind of my opinions. And I would rank 28, 30. I'm actually not that familiar with. The only one of these I'm familiar with is 35, and I did not like 35 that much. So again, he put it as an A. It's not like a bad rating, but I wouldn't even put it as an A. But I feel similarly that I would put it towards the bottom. Now 53, I don't really have a big opinion on, but it's like Steven's not really like a JI guy, so it kind of makes sense. But interestingly, he puts 31 up towards the top. So he's way more familiar with these than I am. Sure. I've been doing this a lot longer. And But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I kind of wish he recorded himself like explaining, because I'm so curious like what his thoughts are. Because yeah, he's one of the people who I really would love to hear like just hear him ramble about why. It's not, I don't expect to agree, but like he's so experienced and articulate. I'm you know, and I've already heard so many of his opinions from now and then. Just I would love to hear this breakdown. But yeah, I mean, I put 31 kind of high on my, pull up my hair a little bit. Ah, what is this? Ah, dude, go away. I hate Macs, man. They just make no sense. Dude, it literally says no for, it says new from clipboard. I literally saved this. Copy subject. Okay. What is this? What is this? Makes no sense. Oh my god, dude. This is the most annoying experience of my life. It keeps copying this. It's not even highlighted. Like, dude. Holy moly. Ah. Why? Dude, Steve Jobs is such a genius. He came up with this. Oh my god, dude. Okay. I want to compare. Can y'all see these? Um. Oh, what's up, Alien? Hey, Romeos. 15 SS. You what? Yeah, that's crazy fun. Awesome. Hey, what's up, dude? Play some examples. Okay, crazy. Yeah, I do play microtonal music and I will, but I'm literally doing something else right now. It's kind of weird to like pop into a stream where people are watching and just be like, "Oh, dude, do your stream differently." Like I do play music. I appreciate the input, sort of. It's like kind of a rude way of going about it to be. Okay. Anyway, um, anyway, so let's see. Sorry, I got like so distracted. Honestly, crazy fun, awesome. I'm mad at the clipboard, so apologize. But yeah. Anyway, okay. Moving on. Yeah, I put 34 and 22 up high, as you can see. And, you know, I think 12 is a good tuning, so I put that there and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. So we were kind of similar on 11, in the middle. I think they were like 17, but 19 more in the middle. Another thing to note, like, he went straight from A to C. I did mention that already, but S, A, B, C, D, F. Um, and Both at 14 kind of high, 5 kind of high. 31 we both put in our second, and 33. I forget about these two because I haven't messed with a lot of these in a long time. I don't think he even mentioned 55. 55 is actually really close to like quarter tonal, not quarter, almost like a 12 extension. It's got like the neutrals are like almost where the 24 Ito neutrals are. It's got, I liked the sounds of it. You can always Google some more microtonal music. I'll do some music too. It's not I do play music on and write music on here. Well, so I'm looking now for like so 26 is like up top, which variable loves that, of course. I had 26 pretty high when I originally did this months ago, just because of flat tone. I really like flat tone. Now I know a little more about it, but I don't know that I would move it to S quite yet. I think I need more time. This would probably be about the same. 23 is like super interesting, but yeah, we kind of have opposite feelings on that. And I noticed like the 15, 20, and 40 are both in here. I know he's got a thing for like, seems like he's got a thing for 5, kind of. 37 is like such an interesting tuning because it's like, I think it's like ultra pyth, but it also has like some really good like 7 limit. I want to say like the harmonic 7th chord is like pretty much perfect. Then this is interesting that 72 is so highly ranked because 24 and 48 are not, but this is too big. I've never even explored it at all. Yeah, I would be curious to hear. And 47 I know nothing about. I've never loaded it up as far as I can recall. No idea what it offers. 19, I know he mentions 19 a lot for like newbies, but like kind of surprised he put it up top. But shows what I know about what Mr. Weigel thinks. And yeah, 15's not a surprise, but I admit I don't get it. 37 is intriguing. Kind of curious. It does make me more curious about it. 26, I respect it. Um, let's see. Any disappointments? Surprise where 17 and 22 are. Surprise 29 is ranked so high. I really like 34, but I get why other people wouldn't. It's just purely emotional thing for me. These I don't know. I have no feelings about any of these. Kind of funny. Except 41 slightly, but not that much. With it really. Similarly here, I kind of don't like 35. I might even have put it in like C. Put it in B, it looks like. Yeah. I don't really like 35 that much. Yeah, we were kind of similar on 53. I don't know, but I'm not a big 15 fan. I've barely messed with it. I didn't even put it on this because I just haven't really messed with it enough. But I have since played with it and I don't really have a strong opinion on it. Alright. Alright, let's see. 55 is close to 6th comma mean tones, basically close to what Mozart used. Oh, interesting. be fair, it's tough to find any good audio examples of all these tunings. Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, no, see. No one's making audios for them, right? Yeah, I would kind of like to do that at some point. Stick around, we have incredible crazy clock time, we have parsing, garble. Yes. Great songs from the grid machines, brain salads, creating fantastic improvisations. Get well soon, right? Absolutely. I'm assuming they left, but whatever. Can't win everybody over. It's a bad time too. I was so angry about the clipboard. 37 could replicate mean tone harmony to an extent. Oh, it's so interesting because it can also be so different. That's why I think of all of those, I think 37 is the one that's like perking my interest the most. It really kind of makes me want to revisit 37. Thinking of ranking these on two metrics, zenness and ease of use instead of just goodness. Yeah, that would be cool. It would be cool to get more information, like what, why, what, and why. You think 19 belongs up top? Yeah. Well, you and Steven have some very similar opinions, and I wonder because you guys both have like, you know, godlike ears, how much that has to do with it. But I would think someone with a great ear would think like 15 is like horribly dissonant. Maybe not. 20 that high up is kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't understand that personally. But you recall Blackwood has done a lot of 15 stuff. Blackwood definitely has 15 Edo. Etude or whatever. 41 is a lot of notes. Yeah, it is. You didn't leave? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not trying to chase you off. We'll get to some music. All right, I'm at 32. Okay, 7 solidly ultra pith. Oh, right on. I see. Yeah, and I understand, and I don't want to scare you off or anything. But I do want, people who are less familiar with it to feel welcome, and I do want to also help you like to hear more things. Now to play like every single one of these tunings, that's not gonna happen because it's just too many. But I will pull up a couple and just play through some chords. So and also I'll explain why like this F tier makes a lot of sense. Zero divisions of the octave is just like nonsensical. You could interpret it as being like free pitch with no octave equivalences or something bizarre like that, but yeah, it's basically nonsense. One Edo would just be one note. 2 would just be a tritone. 3 would just be an augmented chord. 4 would just be a diminished chord. And all these are in 12 Edo. And 6 would just be a whole tone scale. So like none of these even make sense as Edos. They're literally just subsets of 12 Edo. Now what's interesting about his top list is that it's pretty diverse. Like 37 is ultra pith. So the 5th is like super sharp. 72, I don't really know much about it, but it is a superset of 12. So basically it has everything 12 has in it, and then a lot more. Since there's so many notes, it's got a lot of like really good approximations of JI and stuff. 26, it's got a really flat fifth. So we say that's flat tone, but it's basically like a flatter mean tone. So it's familiar to 12, but has a different sort of quality. And I'll play from these. I'll play a little bit from these. But 26 can be quite familiar. Like the diatonic scale, it has a diatonic scale that's familiar sounding. The 12 Edos. 19, pretty sure is also mean tone, but not flat tone. So it can sound really normal, but it can also sound really weird. So 19 is sort of a, you know, it's easy to do familiar sounding stuff in it, but it can be really zen. It can be really different. And then 15 is a strange tuning because it has 5 circles of fifths. Doesn't even really have a good fifth. And yeah, it's just a bizarre tuning. But Steven Weigel really likes it. So let's see. 12 multiples of 12 are only highly composite number. Yeah, absolutely. 12 is already highly composite. 0 means exactly one pitch, nothing else. Okay, fair. Meaning other Edos can't utilize the symmetry in diminished chords. Yeah, but you will have other symmetries as long as they're also composite. You like the idea of having access to all the 12 tet notes while having extra notes. So yeah, if you know you need to be xenpilled or whatever. Yeah, I mean you could definitely try out like 24 Edo, and you might like 31 Edo, even though it doesn't contain 12. It has a really familiar sound comparable to 12 Edo. This is also a mean tone. I'll kind of show you in a second when I load up 19. The circle of fifths is a dumb. 15 is mad, to be honest. Nothing is really as composite as 12 and multiples of it. Access to diminished chords, tritone substitutions, etc. Highly composite nature gives a ton of modulation possibilities you never realized. Yeah, I mean that's something I think a lot of microtonalists are kind of not going for a lot of times. Like for whatever reason, a lot of times microtonalists are attracted to prime numbers. Like they're always, like 31 is prime. And yeah, they're not like necessarily looking for like highly composite Edos. But you have other composite Edos. I mean, 55 is composite, 44 is composite. Yeah, 22 is composite as well. So, there's it's not highly composite, but it has two 11 Edo subsets and it has a tritone, so yeah, exactly. So like if it contains another Edo, it's composite. Yeah. So 26 is composite, contains 13. Yeah. But like 25 would be, you know, composite. There's other 32 would be one that's quite composite. It's not a superset of 12. So, but yeah, 12 is gonna have like all those basic. This is 12 times 3. It's like 2 and 3s. But there's gonna be other Edos that are gonna have like you know, divisions of 7 and like things you don't get out of 12 that are still composite, like 14, for instance, split into 7 and blah blah blah. You can still do tritone subs in 19. Popularity of Edos can mostly be explained by quality of the fifth. That's generally speaking accurate. So like 15 Edo is an interesting counterexample. It doesn't really have like a yeah. Let's load that up actually, and start. We'll just noodle around a little bit. Play like the major scales and stuff. Play a few chords, and kind of compare the sounds a little bit. So Start with 15. 15 has like 3 different step sizes. I don't know how to do it really. You can do it like in chains of fifths or I think it's set up for like the 3 chains of fifths right now. Yeah, 15's a weird Ito because you like just to set it up on a keyboard. Like right now I have 3 chains of 5 Ito. And but you can make chords and stuff. Play in the different, you can take notes from all the different chains and all. So like 1 chain of 5 Ito doesn't, you know, it's kind of pentatonic sounding, I guess. Doesn't really have a major chord, but if you take from the other chain, you get a major chord. And you can get a minor chord. The 15 Ito has like major and minor triads. Major, minor, and but it's very different. And I think I'm assuming that's why Steven likes it so much, because it's a small tuning that it has triads, but it's very different. Very, you know, hard to make it sound normal. So it's very zen. And as you can see, you have a fifth, but it's 20 cents sharp. So it's like not, it's not like a all right, let's see. So no tritone symmetry in audios. 15 is popular because the thirds are a snooze fest. So diet zen trend, folks fearing to go outside mean. Like I said, mean tone is a blast. Pentatonic chain sounds nice. So much interesting territory. Incredible to create fantastic notes. Wow. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Steven has a lot of original stuff. He is the self-proclaimed Zen harmonic god. I think he changed this. Hold on. Oh, maybe he changed his. He used to be Zen harmonic god at Bandcamp. Looks like it changed. Yeah, he changed it. Oh, I wish he would have kept it. It used to be Zen harmonic god, now it's just Stephen Weil. But anyway, this is his magnum opus so far. And it's conceptually like some of the craziest stuff. This one's in 1200 Ito. It's in a 1,000,003 limit JI. Yeah, it's just like the title deserved. Savage is the go. That's man. I'll sue him if anyway, very very like conceptually driven. But got its moments that I really enjoy and he pushes it so far. Very forward thinking. So yeah. Anyway, that's 15. You have major, minor. Seventh chords. Trying to do a diatonic scale yet. There's probably a couple different options for that. Yeah, the cent divisions are all like whole numbers, which is kind of funny. And then, yeah, 15 is interesting. I've really not spent a lot of time with it. You can kind of do sort of normal sounding like bass lines and stuff. Definitely can do cool stuff with it. It's not. It's really easy to sound like very out. Yeah, so you can get, you can get some interesting sounds out of 15. Oh, Brendan Burns is like, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be Brendan Burns. Yeah, I feel like what Brendan does is like the most similar to what I would like to do. Like I'm not trying to copy Brendan, but I think somewhat inadvertently I am, or my opinions line up with a lot of his, I think. But he's really into synths and guitar. Like I come from like playing in a lot of bands, and I play piano primarily, but I really like, I don't know. It's like I like the sounds he's going for. I think I don't know. Some of my favorite stuff I've heard. And yeah. Um and yeah, I've been doing a lot of 22 stuff, and Brendan does a lot in 22. Savage scratches the electronic. Yeah, Savage is fantastic, yeah. Sheldon Ray Bird is criminally underrated. Yeah, I don't even know who that is. 22 with distortion sounds pretty nice, yeah. Yeah, I'm a big Brendan Burns fan. I was playing some of his music earlier, actually, while I was taking a break. To be honest, Savage does a genre that doesn't move you much. And like one of Savage's best, I think his most popular piece, and arguably the most popular Zen harmonic piece of music that's ever been put out on YouTube anyway, is in 22 Ito, yeah. Gleam. Okay. So yeah, that's a very brief, but I do want to touch on more of these. A very brief kind of 15. If I had more experience with it, I would go into more depth, but I really just don't. So we're gonna move on. So 19, 15 is kind of alien. It's three circles of 5 Ito. And you do get some normal chords, but the scale construction is a little wonky. It's really easy to sound pretty Zen harmonic, but there is a little familiar territory in terms of triads and seventh chords and all. Moving on to 19. 19 is a little more, can sound a little more familiar. It has a so it has, since it's mean tone, it has like a pretty normal sounding major scale. And then 19 has the same notes as 12 Ito, but the tuning isn't a genre. Most 12 Ito theory is a pile of turds. You're very well versed in theory. You said you're a drummer, yeah, and a pianist, yeah, hell yeah. Advice on how to be mediocre in a dead genre. Talking about 12 theory. That's Mr. Polk. Yeah, so you can play like the major chords in 19 are like pretty normal sounding. Like Stephen Weigel, for instance, he tells a lot of like beginners to try out 19 Ito because the sound can be so familiar. But and then you have your basic minor chords too. So you know, major 7, minor 7s. But you also have super majors and sub minors, which that's where it can get kind of weird and interesting, I guess. Center harmonic. So you have like sub minor and let's see. Yeah. So you have super major chords as well, which those can sound pretty abrasive. And then it's got the sub minors too, so it's got some. It can be kind of out there and different. And since 19 is such a small set of notes, there's a lot of different like scales and stuff in 19 that microtonalists have already kind of started playing with. And there's this stuff for 15 as well, but since it's mean tone, you could play like just regular. I play on the, you know, you could do the regular stuff. And like the note names are all the same too. Like you have sharps and flats, and yeah, they can also enharmonically be, so they're not the same though. Like E flat is this note, and then D sharp is this note. Is that right? Go ahead backwards. Is sharp up 2 or up 1? Sharp is up 1, right? Yeah, sharp. Yeah, so sharp. The D sharp is this. So to get a sub minor, you'd have C, D sharp, and G. And then to get a minor, you'd have C, E flat, and G. So D sharp's also E double flat. Some things are a little weird in 19, or can be, but yeah, there's not, the enharmonic equivalences are not the same as in 12 Edo. But basically, if you saw music written for 12 Edo and you played the exact same notes in 19, it would sound like the same song, just in a slightly different tuning. And it might not sound absolutely correct to you, or it might even sound slightly better, depending on your ear and preference and all that. But yeah, it's a pretty friendly tuning that's relatively small. Like it's not that many more notes than 12. So because it can be so friendly, some people recommend it to beginners. I don't personally think it's great for beginners. But it does depend. Depends on who you are. If if you're going for, if you like mean tone a lot, I think it's great for that. If you want to do Zen harmonic stuff, I think the Zen harmonic side of 19 is very abrasive and can be harder to do. There's a lot subtler Edos, or gentler Edos, I guess, that are Zen harmonic without being so abrasive. Um, but they can't always sound as normal as 19 though, so there's kind of a trade-off, I guess. You can get some weird sounding chords. It's a very normal sound. You can approximate the harmonic seventh, which you can't do in 12. And the major third is closer to JI, I guess. So the major third in 19 is 8 cents flat, as opposed to being whatever it is, 16 cents sharp, 14 cents sharp. No, yeah, JI is 386 and this is 378. So, and then the minor third is like really good actually. It is 6.5, like a really good 6.5. So maybe if you want that 6.5 minor third, maybe you want to play in a minor key and you like JI. Something like that. But you know, the major third's still good too. And maybe you don't care about that, you know. Maybe you just like the sound. I honestly don't care that much. The augmented third is like I guess close to 9 sharp, but yeah, it has more types of chords. So you have the major and the minor chords, but you also have super major and sub minor, and the corresponding sevenths as well. So you know, major 7, minor 7, sub minor 7. super major. Sorry, I was playing too many notes there. This is the super major 7. Sub minor 7. Minor. Think. Yeah, okay, so anyway. And then you could mix them all up. You could do like a minor third with a super major 7, blah, blah, blah. Get some kind of weird, interesting chords that you really can't do anything similar to in 12. Sub minor third with a minor 7. Kind of like that. It's a super major third with a minor 7. So yeah, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with the 19. You can also do very familiar stuff with the 19. And it's a relatively small tuning, so that's part of the appeal. I understand why it's popular. I've spent quite a bit of time with 19. It's probably like, out of all the tunings I've played with, it's definitely like, it's probably the one I've spent the second or third most amount of time with. 22 being first, not including 12, obviously. 19 might be like the second most familiar tuning. Well, anyway, I'm more familiar with 19 than a lot of tunings. Then 26 is a flat tone. The flat tone is similar to the mean tone, but the mean tone means that the fifth is pretty close to just, but sort of flat. And I think it also means that like there's a good representation of the 5 limit as well as the 3 limit. So it's like in between Pythagorean and 5 limit, basically. But you get that with a slightly flattened fifth. Now in flat tone, I think that's right. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but in flat tone, the fifth is like super flat. Let's see. Mean tone is not Zen. Looks confusing. Extended mean tone is Zen. I do agree with that. Professor Donut has incredible theories, and we are all geniuses. Want to name the first couple notes from D? See how wacky it is. 19 is very much guitar. Yeah, it does work well on guitar too. Yeah. Mean tone comes from the fact that the whole tone generated falls between 9/8 and 10/9, representing a geometric mean of the two. Yeah, so if you stack 2/5, you get something between those two numbers. So 9/8 is 203, and then 10/9 is 182. So your fifth has to be within a range where stacking it will something between those. So in flat tone, it's like extra flat. The fifth on the flatter end. So here it's 692 cents. Which, you might think, oh, well, that seems really out of tune. It's really not that bad. You can play in the diatonic scale in 26, and it won't sound exactly normal, but it's familiar. You can play familiar stuff in 26. But it'll have a slightly different mood. So like major doesn't feel quite as major. And then the reason for this is because the That's just so if you look at the major chord in 26, your fifth is flat. We already talked about that, but the major third, like in the diatonic scale, it's 369 cents. So in 12-ito, the major third is 400 cents. So this is quite a bit flatter. In fact, it approaches a neutral third. A neutral third is you know, there's like a range, but like if you're 350 cents, it's like totally neutral. So we're, you know, we're approaching that neutral territory. This is like definitely like it's not a major third in the traditional sense. It's like it's a down major. It's like a very subdued major third. And it's flat even of the just major third. 386 is just. So we're, you know, what is that? 17 cents flat of that. So yeah, you're getting pretty flat. So that's why we call this flat tone. But you still have a diatonic scale that sounds recognizably diatonic. And you can still play diatonic chord progressions and they sound quite nice. But they have this sort of subdued quality about them that is, to me, it's a little more melancholy and nostalgic. And I really like the sound of it. And I really like it with like a sharp 4, like either playing like basing it off the F instead of C. I was just saying the other day, like it'd be cool to have like a emo math rock band with like flat tone guitars. It'd be sick. But now this is just the diatonic scale. Like in 26 you have tons of chords because tons of basic triads, because if you look, you have your major chord is here, which is approaching neutral. So you have like this down major. You have a minor, which, since the major is kind of flat, generally you expect the minor to be kind of sharp. And that is the case here. So you have this flat major third and this sharp minor third. 323 is like quite sharp. Only 8 cents sharp of 6.5, but consider that like in 12-ito, minor third is 300 cents. Then we have a pretty, we have a really good 7/6. Wait. Oh, it's 10 cents sharp. We have a pretty good 7/6. So anyway, whether you care about that is, you know, some people care about that, some don't. But this is a sub minor third. So you get your major third here, major chord built off of this third. Your minor chord built off of this third. Sub minor built off of this third. And then on the other side you have a super major third. And then this you normally wouldn't consider a third, but you could maybe in some instances think of it as a 13/10. Probably not, but maybe. So that'd be like ultra major. So again, you have sub minor, minor. It's like an up minor really. Major, which is really like a down major. Super major, which is not that super. A 9/7 is like in JI, the 9/7 is our lowest complexity super major third, and it's at 435. But this is quite flat of that, but it is really close to this 1411, which is still relatively low complexity. And it's a nice sound though, regardless of your feelings on the in or out of tuneness of it. So it's a super major, but you could say, for instance, well, the flat tone is it's too flat. I want something a little more major. I don't know, that doesn't sound good actually. Yeah, there you go. So you could do a super major scale that is not that super major. And you could just do that instead of major. And yeah. And that's something I haven't really seen being done in 26. And that I haven't really done, but I would like to experiment with. Because you basically have like two major scales and two minor scales. Well, I mean, this is sub minor and this is super major, but the super major is not that super major. And because the 12 Edo major third is already sharp, it's like not that weird to hear a sharp third as a major, like chord consonants, basically, as a stability. That is more stable, the flat tone third, but you could get away with the 26 third. But yeah, so you have the triads, and then of course you have all the combinations of sevenths and all that. So you have a major seventh, super major seventh, minor seventh, sub minor seventh. They all sound pretty good. I mean, good, cool chords. Yeah, 26. It's like you can represent music from 12 Edo in 26, but it's going to give it its own flair. It's going to give it its own hue. And in that sense, 26 is similar to 22. So 22 Edo, even though Steven did not like rank it highly as I do, it has a similar property where you have like a sort of diatonic scale. The nice thing about 26 though versus 22 that could be seen as an advantage is that it's like basic diatonic scale is the diatonic scale, whereas in 22 the basic diatonic scale is super piph, meaning the thirds are all really kind of sharp. So you have to have a slightly more elaborate scale to represent 12 Edo, and it can create different issues that you don't have to worry about if you're trying to play quote unquote normal music in 26. You want to hear 22? So okay. Well, like so here's the 26. Here's the 26 major and flat tone, super major. These are the seventh chords. Here's the minor and the sub minor. So if you want those, you can do those same chords in 22, and they'll have a different quality. So the third in the diatonic scale of 22. Well, I'll pull it up in I'll do Bose and K because I was doing the other one, Bose and K. So the small one. So in 22, your basic diatonic scale has a really sharp third. So C, E, G in 22, it's not a normal major chord. So just like in 26, the diatonic major chord, we say it's flat tone because the third is so subdued. 22 is kind of the opposite. And the same thing is going to be true for 37, but it's going to be more exaggerated. But in 22, the diatonic quote unquote third, it's super piped, meaning the opposite of flat tone basically, which is that the fifth is pretty sharp. You see you have a 710 or a 709. This is 7 cents sharp of just. It's 9 cents sharp of 12 Ito. If you compare that to like 26, can't remember exactly how flat 26 is. So it's basically, it's comparable in the other direction. It's about 10 cents flat of just, and it's about 8 cents flat of 12 Ito. So yeah, it's almost it's pretty close on the other direction. And just like how in flat tone the thirds end up being flat, the major thirds that is, the major thirds in super pith, meaning like that super meaning like more than Pythagorean. Like Pythagorean is a pure fifth, so it's like greater than Pythagorean fifth. Um, these thirds are like extra sharp. So 436 is like not close to like a JI third at all. It's close to a JI 9/7 septimal major third. 435, which you can hear it as a major chord. But it has a very different quality. The thing is though, in 22, right next door, you have a third that is close to just. At 381, it's only 5 cents flat of just. You get a pretty stable major chord in 22. And you can build a scale based off of these thirds. So instead of doing the normal diatonic moss, which would be super pipe, you can do, this is called Zarlino, when you lower the third, the sixth, and the seventh, each by an Ito step. So instead of going C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you go C, D. We call this down E. It would also be like D sharp, but it's down E, F, G, down A, down B, and C. So because of this, because you have to like do a different type of scale that has, I think, 3 different step sizes instead of 2. 22's quote unquote normal sounding scale is a little more complicated than like 19 Ito's mean tone or even like 26 Ito's flat tone. But that's only if you want that sound. Like if you want the sharp thirds, you can just stick with that. You can do like the same stuff in super pipe, but it's gonna sound a little off. But you have the more familiar sound as well. I can't play this. Anyway, point being, like, that's a pretty stable major chord. So 22, you have the same triads as you have in 26. You have the just the plain old major, you have minor. But if you take from the super pith scale, super pith, however you want to pronounce that, you also have a super major and the sub minor. And the sub minor third is pretty close. Not exact, but pretty close. 6 cents sharp or whatever. So, and then you have the corresponding seventh chords too. Super major 7, major 7, minor 7, sub minor 7. Your list is pulling big numbers. All right, So yeah. Anyway, let's just finish like his top. Let's at least look at 37. I don't like linnstrument's not really good for 72. And I know next to nothing about it. So I might might just refer y'all to Dolores Caterino or whatever. But we'll take a quick glance at 37. 37 is kind of like 22 in a sense because they both have the sharp fifth. But 37 is exaggeratedly sharp. I guess it's only 4 cents sharper or 5 cents sharper, but it's quite sharp. So because of this, we don't even call it super pith, we call it ultra pith. And I didn't mention this before, but like one aspect of having a super pith scale is that your half step is only an Ito step. So like the distance from B to C and E to F. In 22 Ito, it's already quite small. It's only like 55 cents roughly, 54.5 cents. So to some people that's not quite wide enough to even register as a melodic step. I think in some cases it does and in some it doesn't. It's just a little more ambiguous. But it's a good argument for changing your scale from super pith to something else. Because you might not want that ambiguity. In a lot of instances, you probably won't. But it really just depends. But in ultra pith, this is only exaggerated because the half step is even smaller. So in 37, the distance from B to C, E to F is exactly off the top of my head, but very small. So the whole step is 7 Ito steps, and the half step, quote unquote, is 1 Ito step. So it's almost nonsensical to think of it as being a half step at all. But ultra pith, yeah, it's a 32-cent step, so it's very small. So the ultra pith scale would sound like. Let's change my. Ultra pith would sound like this. So even worse than in 22. These almost sound like the same note. E and F are very close. So ultra pith is almost like not even a reasonable diatonic scale. Let's see. The sub minor third and 22 is sharp enough Generate Orwell. "22 looks appealing with its 11 limit JI approximations. 19 also is appealing because you can jam in 12 Edo. Without thinking about the syntonic drift, yeah. Brendan Burns does have a 27 Edo guitar. Well, wow, it's a lot of chat. Sticking to a 7-note major mode isn't very zen. This is true. Alright, I read all that before. I remember that. 19 is great on guitar. Yep, yep. Did you go with 19 or 22? You get a 26 guitar, yeah. Although, yeah, it's. I don't know if it's gonna be too small, the frets, but yeah, Brendan Burns plays 27, so yeah. Some people do 31, but I think it's gotta be hard to play. Think about getting a guitar, but a lot of work. 22 looks appealing. Okay, I read that. 1411 sounds like major without much of a prefix. Right, it's not that sharp. Yeah. Fearless. Okay, I saw that before. Only through the lens of Mr. Gorodin's incredible wisdom. Wow. Yes. Okay. You just listen to Blackwood 16 and it slaps. Nice. Yeah, 16 is composite. I remember listening years ago. You couldn't finish because it was so dissonant. And nobody talks about 16 really. 72 seems like mostly a theoretical concept. Your guess is there's very few people who can use it. Yeah, Dolores Catharino uses it. Yeah. See, Romeo's have one. Ultrapyth is close enough to 5 Edo. Right, because the small step is so small. It's almost like 2 of the same note. It's almost like you have 5 notes instead of 6. Like the Tamnam's approach of analyzing the ratio of large to small step. Yeah, so this is 7 to 1 in this case, so it's very exaggerated. Yeah, 37 is 7 to 1. So yeah, point being, like 37, you're probably not going to use Ultrapyth. It has some really good JI approximations. I messed with it a long time ago. I believe it was Romeo's was telling me to play certain chords, but it has like a decent 7/4. It has pretty good 5/4, pretty good 7/4. I think if I remember correctly, the 11 harmonic is pretty good too. Oh yeah, the 11th is like great. Yeah, it's got a really good 11th harmonic. So if you wanted to play like that chord. Where's the regular 4th? Oh my goodness. So this would be right here. Is the regular 3rd? Yeah, the regular 3rd is so sharp. It's ultra major. It's close to the Barbados 3rd. Like really close to the Barbados 3rd. Yeah, the 5th is. You can do some like higher limit stuff in 37. You have a good 11 limit. Kind of have a good 13. It looks like. Yeah, if you want to do some like kind of wild stuff, I think that is still approximating JI. 37. 37 is definitely intriguing. It's a lot of notes. Doesn't have a friendly diatonic scale. The fifth is very sharp. So even if you do like a different, even if you do like a, you know, 37 version of Zarlino or whatever. Put that harmonic seventh in there too. So anyway, I don't know. I haven't spent a lot. I have not spent a lot of time with 37. It's kind of unwieldy on the instrument. Another reason I've done a lot more with like 22 and 19 is because they're smaller tuning, so they're easier to play on the instrument. And obviously, like you don't have to play on an instrument. You can just go in a DAW, or you got a Lumitone or whatever. There's 37 probably wouldn't be bad on Lumitone. Above 4-1 sounds unusable, at least for diatonic. Works in other mosses like 5-1, 5 long, 1 small. But Blackwood do it? I don't know. I don't know if you can find like Blackwood scores online or not. Anyway, that's as far as I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna look at 72. If you are curious about 72, Loris Catharino has like a bunch of music. She has her own like system called polychromatic. She does a lot of like large Edos. Pull her up on YouTube actually. She makes some really good music too. Try to find one in 72. In 72. He has a one really popular one in 72. This one maybe it is. 69 is a balanced mean tone. Right here, 16. That's 16. I'm not gonna play it on the instrument. It literally doesn't support Edos larger than 55, but I can pull it up in the DAW. Like here. A problem with doing larger Edos too is that MIDI only supports 127 values and by extension notes. So if your tuning is large, to play to MIDI, which is what you're gonna end up doing 99% of the time, you're shrinking your range. And there are workarounds that I don't really want to get into right now, but basically, I mean the short of it is you have to have multiple instances of the same synth that are playing in different octaves basically. But like I have this piano roll pulled up to do 69 Edo, I can't even represent 2 full octaves. So I have 1 octave of some notes. I mean, I have 2 instances of some notes, but not of others. I only have 1 instance. To even find an octave, gonna span like most of my range. So here's the lowest possible note. So 69 would be 12 times 5 is 60. We got 5 octaves plus 9, or 6 octaves minus 3 notes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. This should be it. Octave. There you go. And it'd be easy to be deceived though, because it's so many notes. This is probably pretty close. But you can hear it. Definitely the 1. And yeah, let's see what we have in terms of triads. We have like way too many thirds. No way I'm gonna go over all of them. I guess the mean tone would be like 12 and no. Eleven and 9. I mean 11 and 7. 5 plus, yeah, 11 and 7. So your whole step would be 11, and your small step would be 7. So 11 is like C to B. Mm. 11 looks like a major 7th. And then 7 looks like a 5th. E sharp. Sharp to D. And then A, another half step. That's our mean tone right there. Diatonic moss. So doing this it's easy to see, like, at least with this one root where the third is, blah blah blah. And you could extend this to so here's what a major chord would sound like in 69. Pretty good. And then to switch this to minor, you'd subtract 4 because that's the difference of 11 and 7, since 7's our small step and 11's our large step. And 4 looks like a major third on a piano. So we change this to F sharp. Which means between diatonic major and diatonic minor, you have 3 middle notes. So you would have a neutral in the center. So here's neutral. You would have a sub major. Sounds pretty major. And you'd have an up minor. So anyway, yeah. Let's see. Catch up on chat. Scores. Used the MIDI for Blackwood 17 for routine. Oh, that's cool. You did a school presentation of Blackwood for me. Oh, that's nice. 69 is a balanced mean tone. I like this a lot. Oh, yeah. 43 was a pain to set up. Right. Or use the octave switch feature. We need super MIDI. Right, maybe MIDI 2.0 will be talent. If some piece of soft that can use an arbitrary set of notes, not compatible with any DAW though, just for Starshine has made some reverb plugin. They're not. I don't know, it's not something I would use. I think if you're not already used to piano, it'd be convenient. Yeah, that's just between the major and the minor. But you also have thirds between the major third and the fourth, up to a certain extent. Like at a certain point, it's not going to sound like a third anymore. But you have this diatonic third. You have another major third here. That's super major. That's like getting quite super, where it's starting to sound like a suspension. And that's like unambiguously not a third anymore. So that would be like a flat fourth or something. Yeah, almost flat fourth. Here's like getting that ultra major basically. Super major. This is fine as a major. So is that. That one's pretty good too. Actually, this one I think is a little flat, which makes sense since this is mean tone. The thirds are going to be on the flatter side with the fifths. So maybe you would prefer this third for your major chord. Who knows? Maybe like that one. Even flatter. So I don't know if you can do. Maybe in something like 69, since it has so many notes, maybe you can do a version of Super Pyth, Ultra Pyth, even though it's not really those things. You have like a super major scale, an ultra major scale, a regular major, a subdued major, or flat, or like flat tone-ish major, whatever. And also you have neutrals here too, which is cool. So with large tuning, like you can do a lot of stuff. You know, you have a lot of options, which could be why even like 17. I mean 72. That it's big. It's got a lot of choices, and maybe he likes what's available there. Anyway, but I don't actually know. But it'd be cool to see like him ramp. And yeah, I'm not gonna go into any of those. There's already quite a bit. Oh, I do want to do one more thing though, is to read the comments on his post. Let's see. Back for 26. Hey, that's very. You feel like 31 should be an SS plus. What a normie. 15, 19, 17, 72 outranking 17, 29, 41, 46 is crazy to you. Different strokes. I do like 17 though. I'm surprised it's higher. Also, there's a really good band, Mercury Tree. Has some great music in 17. You're gonna stream when I wrap up. Oh, that's cool. You agree with Cellular Automaton? I've messed with 29, and honestly, like, it's not that exciting to me. I think it's because the fifths are so pure. 41 is cool. I would spend more time with it. Yeah, I do really like 17. Definitely more. I put it on par with 19. If I had to choose between these two, I might choose 17. I find it more interesting in general. But I think 19 is like has a lot of potential. It's hard to tap. This is the best. Romeo's says this is the best one so far. Oh my goodness. Romeo's was here when I made mine. Anyway, no big surprise there. Also, 24 as 12 times 2 equals C, but 24 as 11 or 13 limit, and are equal S or double S. Finally, some respect for 45, combining 9, 15, pretty flat tone between 26 and 19. Overpowered. Interesting. You like flat tone. Oh, and it contains 15 too. So yeah, that's a good example of like a highly composite E. But it's also being related to like 26 and 19 in that line of temperament. This is where like even if you don't like RTT, just like understanding what flat tone is and like how Itos relate to each other in that way is like very helpful. So even if you don't like study RTT, like you do benefit from becoming familiar with temperament. If you want to play in different tunings. If you just like one tuning, it doesn't really matter then. Make a video of the list. Maybe I would like that. Somewhat condescending. Well, where does that come from? Why is 5e to S plus with 7e to C? Why is 12e to C? Rarg. I'll tell you why. Microtonalist pretension. Just microtonal hipsterism. It's fine though. It's if anyone deserves to condescend to 12, it's Stephen Weigel because he has, in his hatred of 12, has elevated has produced so much microtonal, so many great microtonal resources. Very forgivable. 53 equal as A tier, and Cam Taylor, the legend himself, famous lumatonist, theory guy, great ear. 53 equal as A tier and 70 equal as C tier. I feel attacked. I feel like 53 is double S and 7 is probably A or S or double S for how important a framework it is. Ditto 12, probably a B tier. Strangely glad this has me almost fired up to make your. Yes, you should make your own. That'd be cool. I'd like to see more of these. Yep. Downvote for 24 so low. Quarter tones are an integral part of almost everyone's beginning in xenharmonicism, and should be given the respect they deserve. Well put. I respect the hell out of quarter tones. I just trust other people to use them. Actually, 24 Ito made me hate Zen Harmony for years because it sounded out of tune. What? 22 only S plus tier. That's my only complaint. But 2 only. Double down. Bad react. Wow. All right. Beautiful list. I hope to see more of these. Also would love video. All right. Are you kidding me? Yeah. You're not gonna do the Ito tier list? But you don't do Itos, so that makes sense. You could do that. You could do the limit tier list. 29 is underrated. 69 supports UltraPyth. Oh, hell yeah. So it does. Trying to implement microtonal with piano roll and Reaper. Thanks for generating. Hey, thanks for dropping by. Yeah. That was a good idea. Crazy fun. And I appreciate you bringing it up. Sorry I was kind of heated about it at first. I was a little angry at my clipboard, and I think I didn't drop that energy before I started talking to you. So for that, I apologize. But glad you stuck around, and yeah. All right, let's see. Basically, music might be the false prophets on this occasion. Oh, good, you came in kind of. Yeah, it's all good. Thanks again for dropping him. It was a good. That was a good idea. This was a good. This was a fun experience. You're gonna head out too. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna wrap up. Well, I kind of want to practice a little more piano before I go to bed. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming in. This was a cool stream. We get to thank Stephen Weigel and Crazy Fun for Stephen Weigel for the Ito tier list that I could ramble about, and then Crazy Fun for the idea of actually playing some of the Itos. That was a good idea. You sometimes do small Itos. Oh, right on. Cool. Base 24. Gordon tier list went. Oh, I did my tier list. I did it a while back. I'll pull it back up. Here's my tier list. Oh, it's deleted permanently? What the heck? Hold on. I actually already cropped it a while back, and here it is. So as my tier list. It's a little old, but I don't really have anything to update. Oh, I'll do some ear training. I'll do some ear training first. Do the crazy clock. Uh, so yeah, there you have it. And yeah, nothing's really changed. And you know, I haven't spent a lot of time on a lot of these. These are all ones that I have spent at least some time or just deemed them irrelevant for reasons. As you can see, my F is very similar to Steven's. The only exception being the 8. And I don't have the 0. But yeah, all of these I've spent at least a little time with, and these are very like just my impressions. I will say like 37, like like everything in the A list is not stuff I really want to explore more, but 26, 31, 37, to a lesser extent 55. But these three, or these two in particular, 26 and 37, I'm really curious about. 31, I almost feel obligated to explore more. Um, so like even the ones in the row, they don't necessarily reflect my interest. It's more just like how good I felt playing them. A little bit that I did play them. But in 12, of course, I've written tons of music in 12, and it's obviously like the default, so I feel like it would be disingenuous to like demote it. But if you don't feel like it's S rank, that's totally valid opinion. Not my opinion. Um, yeah. 13, even though I have it ranked lowly, since I've been like getting into 26, and because Lime Boiler's song is in 13, it does make I am curious about 13. Like I wonder if there's a way to enjoy it. And then like 23 can be, I like Mavilla and all that. It is interesting. I didn't really enjoy playing it. I don't know why 35 is so high. I feel like it should be. Actually, I've spent more time with 19 since I did this. So I would actually put it high. I would put it in A. I like 19 more than I used. Everything else about the same though. I'll check out 27 at some point. It's because of Brandon. You want to hear the ear training? Okay, yeah, I'll do that. See a variable. 4 circles of minor thirds. Yeah, 16. That's crazy. 13 can sound fun when used melodically, but you're scared of it harmonically. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing. 13 is instant horror flick. 13 is tough. Tough. 2 tiers above 53. By 55, it's just like I just was messing with it and I just liked it. I don't know. I have no logical reason. I was playing with the chords and I was like, dude, 55 is really cool. I literally just I noodled on some chords and I really liked the way the chord sounded. It has a really nice neutral chord, and it has these like next to neutral majors and minors, like really down major and really up minor, and they just sound really nice. Yeah. It just sounded good. All right, we'll do some of the some ear training before I get out of here. Melodic. It's easier with wide intervals and harmony. I'm gonna warm up with some just regular 12-beat ear training. I'm gonna do the descending because I've gotten pretty good at the ascending. I'm not as good at the descending. I'm getting my fifths and fourths mixed up. That was pretty bad. And now these are quarter tones. That's pretty bad. I have done quite well on that. I'm pretty consistent. My high score is it's not gonna show up today. I probably got bought because Anthony has been on here a ton. But I was 13th the other day. The website's not working, but I had the 13th best score. That one. Not as bonkers as Zenner's arguing over 24's folder garbage. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, this one's in 22, so this one doesn't have any of the 12 Ito intervals exactly, but it still has like major second, minor second, but it also has sub minor and super major intervals. Anyway, that wasn't very good. And this one's a 19. Not really doing that well tonight. I keep not hearing that major seventh. I don't. I'm usually pretty decent at. Yeah, it sounds like a 6, but I can't tell. It's like a weird sound of major 6. It's either the regular major 6, which is already kind of flat at 12, or super major. It was super major. And that's like a half step or minor second. It's like a sub minor third. It's a sub minor third. That's just like a minor 6. And that's like a minor 7th ish. I don't know if it's the classic minor 7th or the sub minor 7th or what. I think it's just a regular. It's actually a major 7th. Close. Another 4th. A major 3rd. It was actually super major. So it was a little sharp. I just couldn't tell. That's a minor 3rd. Could be sub minor, but I think it's just regular minor. It was sub minor. It's easy to get like 19 frustrating because it's easy to like narrow down the type of interval generally. Like, is it a 6th, 3rd, whatever, major, minor, even? Because it's all like sub majors and super majors and sub minors in addition. I don't know, just and then the regular intervals sound a little different. Just yeah, it's just tough. And then there's 2 tritones. I can never tell which one's which. It was the other one. Yeah, 19's kind of tough. That's like a minor 7th. Like, it's actually sub minor. I think that's minor now. And then I'm going to do one more and I'm going to get out of here after that. Minor 3rd. No, it's actually a whole step. Yeah, 17 has neutral intervals in addition to having major and minor. Major and minor are the 17. We didn't go over that early tonight, but it's a also like super pyth basically. Oh yeah, have a good one, Crazy Fun. But yeah, it can be tough too. It's in a way it's not as hard as 19. Yeah, intervals are not as ambiguous, but sometimes the neutrals can throw you off. The neutral can sound major or minor depending on the. And 17 also has 2 tritones, so similarly annoying. 19 in that way. Alright, anyway. See y'all next time. Thanks everybody who hung out, and yeah, kind of fun, interesting stream. Have a good day, night, whatever. Tomorrow I'll be back doing some more mixing. Gonna play some linnstrument. Unless something the stream, something comes up, do that instead. But yeah. All right, and more ear training, of course. So yeah, have a good one.